Did you really think I was going to give him the last word?
I wasn't judging her about her past.
Disrespectful
It's
thing,
how
and
it
I
was
said
said.
it really sounds to me like judgment underneath.
No,
I'm curious as to who told Marina that this was a good idea. I am curious because this was a bad look. Irregardless of whatever Tony did to her, people will always reference this as her lowest point. And to think of the story that she came into the show with and see how she's carried herself, how she's behaved, how she's spoken to her partner, it makes you question everything else. And then Paul deserved to be held to account. He really deserved to be held to account for his behavior because it's never acceptable. It's never acceptable to use violence, regardless of whether you were provoked or not. It's never acceptable. On the same par, it's never acceptable to use emotional and psychological sort of I don't want to call it abuse, then I'm putting a label on it, but it's unacceptable for everyone to sit and watch Adrian do what he did and then only have Dave call him out and everybody else keep quiet. I don't get that. And the audacity to keep trying to give tips to Paul of how to sort of get himself out of trouble doesn't make sense. Paul is remorseful. Adrian, it's another day at the office. He doesn't care. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight Australia, Season 12, Episode 21. Just a bit of housekeeping before we start. Last week, when I said that I was happy that, Elliot was getting a taste of his own medicine or his feet was being held to the fire, it's because I felt he had someone who stood up to him. I wasn't celebrating the fact that his sister was in a diabetic coma. That goes against what I believe because that goes against my job. That's not something that I would celebrate. But I was saying that he finally had someone who would hold him to account, someone who would ask him the questions that he needed to be asked. I'm not saying that her questions were right, but the fact that he was dumbfounded when he was being asked questions is what I meant, because with his time with Lauren, he kept saying whatever he wanted and she would just sit there and just smile and just look at him. This is what I meant when I said Elliot has met his match. It's not that I was celebrating his sister's illness. That goes against what I do for a living, so that is not something that I was cheering for. Anyway, so it's another episode of Married at First Sight, and people, it's the day after the dinner party. We have couples, just in a happy space. We have Dave and James. They are happy. You also have Lauren and Clint. They are having coffee because they're in a good space. They didn't have any tension with anyone. Jackie and Ryan are suddenly at peace because of the fact that Ryan stood up for Jackie. So she feels very happy. She feels they're aligned. Jackie feels that, she's now found a lot of things in common because they were talking about a data center. And it's like, Jackie, that's too small a thing to sort of build a relationship on. But hey. You have Paul and Karina. Paul and Karina, everyone is talking about it because everybody cannot wrap their heads around the fact that this has been the most stable couple in the experiment from day one. They seemed like they were falling in love. So to hear that there was this incident that happened, everybody is stuck on the fact that he punched the door. And so everybody's seeing, sadly, for Paul, he's in a no-win situation in the sense that what he did could be seen as abuse. The same way as what Adrian is doing could be seen as abuse. But because what Adrian is doing is invisible, Adrian will get away with it. Whereas Paul, people will hold his feet to the fire and people will barely see the effects of what Adrian is doing. Anyway, you have all the couples talking about it. Jamie and Dave. Dave is not on board with it. He's very disappointed because he says he was friends with Paul, so he's not happy about that. You have TJ and Beth. They are also talking about it and they feel uncomfortable because they have been a peaceful couple. And sadly, I hope all the peaceful couples don't suddenly turn left and go the same way. You have Jeff and Ree. Jeff and Ree were there when the whole thing started with the conversation in the Uber where she spoke about the fact that she slept with the rapper. I think all of us want to know who the rapper is and what exactly was it about that rapper that sort of infuriated Paul to get to the stage where he was. You have Paul speaking to Karina. They are in this space whereby they don't know how to be because they've been the most successful couple in the experiment all along. And suddenly they're at this place that they can't hide what they've done. They can't sort of ignore it and just brush past it, because the producers would have seen the damage on the door and they will have asked. So this had to come out. And now that it's out, they can't sort of package it away neatly. So they're stuck and they don't know how to sort of handle that. And then we have Afina. Afina, I don't know why she's still in the experiment. I need somebody to help me. I know. Someone was saying to me, you're going to have your little heart broken. I'm always an optimist. I'm always looking for the silver lining on stuff. But Afina, I wish she would go home. Because given the way that Adrian's family treated her, and the fact that after his family treated her like that, you had Adrian come to the dinner party, tell everybody his side of the story, and then run to her and say to her, don't tell anyone that happened. You have to respect my family. I value my family. And it's like, well, if you value family, your wife is your family. Why didn't you protect your wife? Why didn't you feel the need to sort of cover her and shelter her away from the backlash from your family? You can't be saying you're all about family. We won't be talking about my family because my family is sacred, my family is private. And it's like, your family is not sacred, your family is not private. The way they carried themselves at that dinner party, especially the sisters and the friend, sadly, they lost all respect from a lot of people, myself included. And there's nothing you can do. Afina says she wants to talk about it. I really want to see how the experts handle it, because it could be perceived as emotional or psychological abuse, the way Adrian has been manipulating this girl. And I'm sad to see that she still stays there. I wish they had removed her, as they did Shauna from Married at First Sight UK. And then you have Tommy and Morena. Apparently Morena packed her bags. Well, she didn't come back to the apartment with Tony. So Tony doesn't know where she is. The producers are asking him. He has no idea. At the dinner party, he made the comment he made because she was winding him up, and he suddenly exploded. And now she's gone MIA. Even though she was saying Tony's the one who goes MIA, she's decided to go MIA. I can't wait to see if she does show up at the commitment ceremony, because Tony said he was looking to just shake hands and keep it stepping. But then I don't think she wants to shake hands and keep it stepping. I think she wants to address the elephant in the room. So I can't wait to see what happens there. Everybody else gets ready for the commitment ceremony because, people are anxious and they're nervous and they don't know. Well, those in uncertain couples don't know what's going to happen, whereas most of the other couples know they're going to choose to stay. So as usual, you have everyone arrive for the commitment ceremony. The guys arrive first. They're followed in by the ladies. Everybody rocks up except for Morena. And so even the experts are asking, what happened? Where is she? What's happening? Tony, what's happening? Explain. And he's saying, I don't know. We thought she was, he says, I don't know that, I thought she was coming, but hey, she's not here. So the experts decide to start off with Tony since he's on his own. And then she struts in, mid-sentence, she struts in. Oh, do you think I was going to let him have the last word? Never. And it's like, Morena is battling her own sort of trauma. That's the impression that I get. I don't want to call it demons, I'll say trauma. She's battling her own trauma in the sense that, yes, this man, according to rumors, Tony was still legally married, even though he had been separated, it seemed, for a decade. But he was still legally married. And I don't know how they cast him to the show if they knew he was legally married. Do I think he liked Morena? Yes, I think he did. I think at first sight, Morena is right to say there was an instant attraction. But I think the theatrics, from her son and everybody else at the wedding sort of had this backup. And then her over-talking him and sort of making him feel like he was in trial every single time, this just put him off. And so he had to come up with an excuse to say why he had checked out. I think he tried doing nice things like bringing her son's children over. I think he was hoping if he could do something nice for her, she will be nice to him. But sadly, because of the trauma that Morena comes with, she will never see that. Because she lets him talk, and he talks and he describes the situation that, we tried, but sadly, this is where we are. And then she waits for her turn, and then she starts belittling him. Everybody was embarrassed. Jamie wanted to hide. She wanted the floor to open up and hide her. Because everybody was saddened at the disrespect. Even the experts, they couldn't say anything because she was disrespectful. Let's call a spade a spade. Morena was disrespectful. The fact that she talked about age, oh, there was a very instant spark. Yes, they had a spark, but the problem she had is because she's used to being in confrontational, combative relationships, she couldn't deal with someone who just wanted peace and space. She couldn't deal with that. I think she was used to a certain way of communication, a certain way of combat, that this is what she wanted. And sadly, she found herself with someone who didn't believe in that, someone who wanted completely opposite of that, and someone who tried to sort of treat her with love and respect. But because she comes with a lot of baggage, she wasn't ready to receive whatever Tony was giving her. She wasn't ready. And so Tony decides, he writes, I've decided to leave. And she says, good riddance. And it's like, why? You can't begrudge someone because he says he wants children. Even at 53, if he wants children, he wants children. He told us his parents died and that was his only family or his only closest blood family. So if he has decided at this point that he wants children, then let it be. Let it be. He didn't say to you he wanted you to have children for him. He just said he wanted children. You never spoke about adoption. You never spoke about surrogacy. You never spoke about anything. This would have been the time to have those conversations. Did you say you didn't want children at all? Or did you just say no? He's assuming that because I can't have children, so he doesn't want anything to do with me. I didn't quite get that. And I didn't understand that. And I found that very, very, very disrespectful. I wish she had taken the high road. I wish she hadn't gone so low, because she went so low, she ended up in the gutter, sadly. And it's really sad because irregardless of whatever Tony did, people will always side-eye her because of her actions and the comments that she made. For her to storm out after they both wrote leave doesn't make sense. I think she wanted to make a grand entrance and a great exit. And because apparently the producers had to kick her out of the apartment. So I can't wait to see what she does, whether she moves out of the apartment or whether she'll stay there for a bit longer, because everybody seemed embarrassed on her behalf. Next up is Jamie and Dave. Jamie and Dave, for me, something else. They're a revelation, as I've said. I root for love. So when I see healthy love, I want it to prosper. And the fact that, they had this very positive week again and their families were on board. We all know her aunt, her family and aunts and sisters were all excited and they wanted to see what was happening and what was the way forward. I think her dad being on board with all this and his family as well, Dave's family, loving and liking what was going on, I think is the reason why they're getting the warm and fuzzies. I'm happy that they haven't jumped and said, oh, we're falling in love, we're in love. No. Instead, they're saying we've got these feelings developing and we're going to continue to nourish them and sort of protect them, and hopefully they become something. And they're actually looking at life after the experiment. You have Dave talking about the fact that he has to be careful. He wonders where he's going to put his bike, where he's going to put his dog and that sort of thing, and how she is going to fit into his life, I guess. And she's doing the same. It was the sweetest thing ever. And mid-conversation, you suddenly have Adrian manipulating Fina, and it's like, seriously, I called this. I said the problem is people are going to see everything that Paul did because of the punch in the wall, but no one will say anything or no one will see anything wrong in everything that Adrian is doing. Adrian is just as bad as Paul, if not worse. Because with the wall that's punched, if they break up with Karina, that's it. Whereas with Adrian, he's inflicted so much emotional and psychological damage that this woman will carry this for a long time. Anyway, we go back to Jamie and Dave. Jamie and Dave, they decide to stay. Is anyone surprised? No. We're not surprised they've decided to stay. I think they are one of the most stable couples, and because they're both open to learning, they're both opening to sort of exploring this connection. This is why I have a feeling they're going to be successful post-show. Next up is Jackie and Ryan. Jackie and Ryan are very peaceful. Jackie talks about the fact that, this has been a very good week for them because Ryan has really stood by her and has really supported her through a very challenging situation. And it's like, as long as he was sucking up to her and he was saying, you're amazing, Jackie would have been ecstatic. It's not that he's done anything special. The fact that he stood by her and he told everyone to keep quiet when, she was trying to tell Rio off, She's good. So he revealed, you have, Ryan revealed that they were physically intimate. And it's like, Ryan, the last time you spoke about your intimacy, you got in trouble. The audacity to talk about it and say we did it not once but twice is a bit too much. I don't even know why he said it. I really don't know why he said it. And I think this has been their best week thus far. I don't know whether they've decided not to be the drama, or they've been told that this week we don't need you for drama, and they've decided to sort of just cruise as a couple. I don't know. I wish I could say I want them to work, but they're too toxic, they're too messy, they're too sort of confusing for my liking. I think I want a couple that's easygoing, that that, oh, right now they like each other, oh, now they're doing this. Whereas Jackie and Ryan, you can never tell where they're going. Things will easily turn left at any opportunity. So, I don't know. I'm happy that they both chose to stay. Am I surprised? No, they were going to choose to stay. So I'm not surprised that they both chose to stay. Next up is Ree and Jeff. Ree and Jeff are doing amazing. They are drama-free. They are what Karina and Paul were from the start. They talk about the fact that they had meet their family and it went amazing. Ree's mom apparently asked for Jeff's number, and then she sent Jeff a message to thank him for looking after her daughter and sort of making sure she was okay. And I think it gave her peace knowing that Ree was with an amazing guy, which I love for the two of them. They seem to be doing very well because they're very easygoing, and because of the friendship that they had before they came into the experiment. I think this is one of their strongest assets. This is why they're able to work, because there's a lot of trust there from their friendship. There's a lot of compassion, empathy, understanding, because they had a relationship prior to coming into the experiment. So I love this for them. I love that they're happy. I love that they seem at peace. Jeff was talking about, her mom sent me a message and, everything is good. I'm already on a text chain with her mom, and it's like the mom is a bit too much. Why is she sending him text messages? What if he breaks up with her? She needs to wait until after the experiment and make sure that this thing is really got legs and is going somewhere. During this conversation, you had Adrian telling Afina again to say, let's not talk about the family. We shouldn't talk about the family. And it's like, why are we allowing this conversation to take place? I don't even know why the producers didn't call it out and didn't tell the experts that you need to stop Adrian. He's trying to coach his wife on what to tell you. And it's like, this man needs to go home. I don't get why we're not calling him out. I don't get why we're not sending him home, because it's very unhealthy for anyone to be in a relationship with someone who's so manipulative, someone who's controlling every single thing that you say. Next is going to control what you eat, what you wear, who you talk to, who you don't talk to. I don't like it. And I'm surprised that Married at First Sight is actually airing this, because this is not healthy. This is very toxic. Anyway, you had Ree and Jeff choose to stay. Is anyone surprised? No. Next up is Afina and Adrian. To say I'm disappointed is an understatement. To say I'm shocked is an understatement. Because they get there, they sit down, and Adrian has been telling her we shouldn't talk about the meet the friends and family. We shouldn't say anything. And I love that Alexandra said to him, even if you don't want to talk about it, it was filmed, so we're going to watch it, irregardless of whether you want to talk about it now or not. For him to be so protective over his sisters and his friend doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. For the producers, the experts, to sit there and watch him manipulate that woman doesn't make sense. You had to have Dave shout out at the top of his lungs to say, stop controlling her, stop telling her what to say. And I'm surprised that people like Jeff was sitting there and watching, because Jeff was sitting across from these people. He could hear the conversations. At one point, he actually looked up to hear Adrian manipulate this person, and everybody kept quiet and let Dave look like an idiot. Even herself, Afina. I don't get it. Now I understand why one of my subs said, you're going to be disappointed. Because I am disappointed. I'm devastated. I'm heartbroken, because this woman is allowing herself to be manipulated by this man on national TV. No amount of clout is worth this. No amount of clout is worth this. Because why would you want to put yourself through this? Why would you want to embarrass yourself on TV just to be an influencer? Make it make sense. I don't get it. I really am so surprised. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Because what Adrian is doing is invisible, People will not comment or say anything until there's a loud and thunderous noise from the viewers. Whereas we get people like Paul being held to account because people can just look at the door and say, oh, he damaged the door, he's abusive. But no one can see the emotional, psychological damage that is being implemented on the partner by people like Morena, people like Adrian, and the audacity to smile and smirk. I don't get it. I'm not buying Jeff's vim. I'm not buying it, sorry. Because he seemed angry when Adrian was sort of smirking and snickering when, Afina was asked, what do you like about Adrian? It took 4 attempts for her to give a response. And yet Adrian behaved as though she said it as soon as possible. She said she likes that he looks at her when when he thinks she's not watching. And she likes how he loves her family. That's not enough. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. I'm sorry. That's not good enough or justifiable reason for you to say you like someone who treats you terribly, who treats you like the dirt under his feet. I don't get it, and I'm so furious. This is why I think her sister didn't come back with her. I think she must have had a back and forth with her sister, and the sister must have told her, let's go home, and she refused to go home. This is why I think the sister was so furious that she left her to go back to the apartment on her own, because it doesn't make any sense why this woman would want to continue in a process with someone who's treating her with so much disrespect, disdain, and embarrassing her to the max. Next up is Elliot and Veronica. I said this before, I'll say this again. Elliot and Veronica had a lot of issues going on for them. And so for them, this was hard in the sense that they came in with Elliot and this persona and this issues that had happened at the dinner party when he met Lauren and her husband the first time. And then the opinions that were sort of placed on Veronica by Lauren didn't help the situation. So by the time she sat down for the honesty challenge, she was trying to sort of prove these facts about Elliot wrong. That's the impression that I get. And sadly for Elliot, he was in a no-win situation in the sense that Veronica had answers that she wanted. And when Elliot didn't give her the answers that she wanted, she then decided that she was going to make it difficult for him until he sort of bent his knee and sort of understood that he was wrong and he should have said something totally different. I get where everyone is coming from. I get where the experts are coming from, that she's coming across as very judgmental. She is being judgmental. Elliot was judgmental about Lauren. Everybody's judgmental, especially when you marry a stranger. But it's how you phrase what you're saying. It's how you empathize with your person. If you see a future, do you want to actually work hard to make sure that this relationship is successful? Do you want to make sure that you protect your partner and they feel valued, they feel listened to, they feel cherished, they feel adored? This is where I think Veronica struggled. And so for the experts to call her out, I wish they had the same vim for Adrian as they did for Veronica, because they held Veronica accountable for her actions, her verbal and non-verbals, whereas some people I think got away with a lot. I'm actually pleasantly surprised that Elliot said he learned something, because we all remember him telling Lauren that he didn't think he would learn anything from the experiment because he already knew what he was doing. So I'm pleasantly surprised that he was able to learn from this experience. He was able to learn from the experts and be open to the idea of continuing to develop. I have a feeling this is Elliot's transformation. This is what I'm going to say. Because Veronica, we were told she's an actress. So I have a feeling this is going to be his redemption story, because he's gone from this very, I'm so full of myself, I know what I want, I'm not going to bend a knee, I'm not going to do ABCD, to suddenly he's being vulnerable, he's being open, he's being honest about his feelings. I don't know. I don't want to be a cynic, but I am sort of side-eyeing him. I am also side-eyeing Veronica because I didn't like the way she spoke to her husband. Whether or not he was right, she didn't need to speak to him like that. She didn't need to sort of continue to sort of seem unempathetic with him, if that's a word. Anyway, they both chose to stay. Is anyone surprised? No, because this is their second commitment ceremony, so there's no way they were going to say leave unless things were really that bad. Next up is Clint and Lauren. My problem with shows like Married at First Sight is that people make up terms or people say things that they don't know what they mean And it's infuriating. I remember on Married at First Sight UK, we had this passenger princess. Everybody wanted to be treated like a passenger princess. Oh, I want princess treatment. I want this treatment. And yet, I don't think people actually fully understand what they're talking about. Because you have Lauren sort of going to this theatrics of, oh, I came home and I just, turned my gaze away because I was so sad at what I saw when I walked in. And everybody's thinking, what? Did she walk on him butt naked or something? What did she do? Oh, he was washing dishes. And it's like, it's the audacity. It's the audacity. I don't know who told her that in order for someone to be masculine, they need to come home, sit in the chair and command you on what to do. A relationship, it's a partnership. If your partner is tired, you can step in and do some of the stuff to sort of ease the stress from their plate. So the idea that you decided to come into this and sort of make a big deal or make a mountain out of a molehill doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. And so I am so furious. I don't get it. I don't understand it. The fact that she was upset that, oh, he washed the dishes and then he did the laundry. And it's like, so what's wrong about that? What is wrong about that? Everybody actually laughed at her because it was very silly and very immature of her for her to say, I want an alpha male. She's asked, what is an alpha male? I don't think she gave a proper description of what an alpha male is. Someone in the comments said she was dating Jono, and Jono doesn't come across as an alpha male. So I don't know what she's talking about. I think she's just not attracted to this man and is looking for any excuse to sort of give so that she can break off things with him. I'm surprised she stayed in the experiment. She should have taken her butt home. She should have taken her butt home because she didn't deserve to stay there. After trying to make this man feel as though he's less than. This man is well accomplished. This man has got his own career. This man has got his own company that he runs. That must show that he's an alpha. He's successful in sport. That must show that he's an alpha. He owns his own stuff. That's alpha enough. If you don't like him, keep it stepping and someone else will come and find him. You don't need to sit there and sort of downgrade someone just because you feel less than. I don't know who told her that in order to be an alpha, you need to let your wife do every single thing. Make it make sense. Being a wife does not mean you're good at doing laundry, cooking, washing. No, there are other things that come with being a wife. So, oh my God. The experts asked them, to make a decision. They both choose to stay. Surprised, no. They were never going to go home. She still wants to be there. She still wants the clout that comes with being on the show. So you have Beth and TJ. Beth and TJ, for me, have been that couple that have just been peaceful. They are like, they are what Paul and Karina were before they had this sort of disaster. They are at peace. They are minding their own business. They seem to really like the person they're with. I completely forgot that Beth apparently had never been in a relationship. So this is her first time to be in a relationship. And I think she's lucky she's in a relationship with someone who has come from a family where there's arranged relationships. So he is more understanding, more compassionate, more empathetic, and sort of more willing to adjust because he's actually seen it work. And so I loved them. I loved their little conversation, how they tease one another, how they're not taking each other seriously and they're just living by the moment. So it was cute to see. It was cute to see. I don't think anyone was surprised to hear them say stay. They were always going to say stay because they're really in an amazing space. Then lastly, we have Paul and Karina. Paul and Karina, sadly, have hit rock bottom. It can only go up from here. I think I try to be more understanding and more compassionate because this man, what he did was wrong. It was terrible. And so to hear the experts hold him to account, I want them to do that. But I also want them to hold other people to account as well. Because when you had sort of Paul trying to explain everything that happened, you had Adrian in the background telling him to keep quiet. Keep quiet, keep quiet. And then when Paul started being called out by the experts, you had Adrian say, that's why I was saying keep quiet. And it's like, seriously. So we're allowing someone to display behavior that is harmful to their partner, and we're holding their feet to the fire, we're holding them accountable, we're calling them out, and then somebody else, because whatever he's doing is invisible, we're just brushing it under the carpet and pretending like we can't say it. Paul is wrong for punching the wall. Paul is wrong for not being able to control his behavior, given that he's a personal trainer. one would think he would know how to sort of manage himself and how to contain himself. So I hold him accountable for his actions, for punching the door. There is no excusing that. That's not good behavior at all. There's no excusing that. And it's really sad because he's gone from a very high to a very low. And it was, although it wasn't recorded, the aftermath has been recorded and will live in eternity as long as Mavs is around. And he knows that. And I think this is one of the main reasons why he's broken, because he's done something that he shouldn't have done. 1, 2, he's done something that he shouldn't have done, and it's been recorded for the whole world to see. So even if his relationship with Karina doesn't work, whatever relationship he goes into, that is always going to be held over his head. And so I think part of his tears are he's sorry that he did it, and then he's sorry that he did it where it was recorded and everyone will be able to reference it from here till eternity, because otherwise he's been moving. He's been an inner perfect couple all along. So I give the experts credit for calling him out and also for giving him help to manage his anger. So they've given him, it seems like they've given him counselors, or they've given referrals to sort of places where he can get assistance to sort of contain his anger and contain his emotions. That way he doesn't lash out the way he did. Karina ran out after him. I felt sorry for them, especially when he was crying away from everybody else. That was really sad to see. Irregardless of how wrong he is, you can also feel sorry for someone, even though they're wrong. So I really feel sorry for him, and it's sad that their relationship has got to this, and I hope he's able to take the help that has been offered by the show and sort of be a revelation, be a testimony for what can happen with the right tools and equipment at your disposal. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 20. Bye guys.